Man, do I love the GameCube. It's a childhood staple of mine. As with every Nintendo fan of the early 2000s, I adored the goofy little purple lunchbox that was in every game that came with it. Although, as you can plainly see, mine is black now because I ended up selling my old GameCube for a DSi. I wasn't a very smart kid, was I? Like everyone else, I enjoyed the classics like Super Smash Bros. Melee, Sonic Adventure 2, Super Mario Sunshine, but there was one video game spin-off series that stood tall above all others, and that was Mario Party. These 4 games are not just old video games from my childhood, but they're the very video games that shaped who I am as a gamer today.
I mean, they're the reason I set out to do this review series in the first place. I remember these games so fondly in my mind, despite the fact these were meant to be multiplayer experiences. These were, in fact, some of the first Mario games I personally owned, and today, I want to revisit them with a more critical eye.
This is what I consider to be the golden era of Mario Party, but does it really hold up as well as I remember? Well, buckle down, folks, because we're in it for the long haul. Let's get started with Mario Party 4 from the year 2002?
Oh my god, this game turned 20 years old this year? Are you kidding me? I know the GameCube is a retro console and all, but fuck, man. You know, now that I think about it, this console to the kids today is the equivalent of what the NES was to me when I was about their age. Did you know I'm starting to grow noticeable gray hairs? Anyway, Mario Party 4, a new entry in the Mario Party series for the then next generation Nintendo console. And let me tell you, the graphical jump between Mario Party 3 to this game is huge. This was an era where Nintendo actually prioritized technical specs in their consoles, a foreign concept these days, I know. Character models look much higher poly and now have facial animations. Boards look much more dynamic and detailed. With the N64 trilogy, you kind of have this top-down, zoomed-out camera angle at all times, whereas the GameCube boards, you have a closer angled side view that does a great job of showcasing the action and more detailed animations. The difference is truly night and day. The graphical showcase is so great, mind you, that for the first time ever in the series, we see the use of full-motion video cutscenes, which, oh no. Did Mario just jump 3 feet without moving his legs? Why the fuck is Koopa Trooper dancing like that? What even is this? Why does everyone look like a soulless husk? Aside from the fact this is the blandest looking rendition of Peach's castle and the characters animate stiffer than wood, Mario and crew look so uncanny. It's not good animation in the slightest. And you know what's really funny? Back in the day, I thought this looked cutting edge. I mean, look at how this back goes from all crumpled to shiny. Isn't that so cool? I guess that's what happens when you don't know any better. No wonder why this was the first and last time FMV was used in the series. Oh well, at least the actual game looks good. Graphics aside, what does Mario Party 4 bring to the table to advance the series forward? Let's start with the minigames this time, what I consider to be the strongest part of the game. There are a total of 60 minigames this time, and they're all very strong. Mario Party 2 and 3 brought some iconic minigames to this series, such as button mashing games. This only serves to be amplified with the new and vastly superior GameCube controller. Yep, I'm yet another sim for this plastic piece of perfection. It's comfortable to hold, it feels great to work with, and its buttons are satisfying to click. Just listen to this. I'm pretty sure you could start an ASMR channel around this controller. In fact... Okay, maybe not quite. Still, button mashing minigames are a million times better here, and I feel as if the dev team knew just how fun it is to mash buttons on this thing. You have your mindless button mashers like Domination and Take a Breather, but you also have games that use them strategically. Dungeon Duos is a great example. It's a 2v2 minigame where you and a teammate have to run through a gauntlet of obstacles where you must work together to drop iron doors, rotate platforms, and blow up an air balloon at the end to escape. It requires good timing, strategy, and teamwork, so it uses button mashing in a meaningful way. There's also Mario Medley, a battle royale game where you have to swim 3 laps as fast as you can by button mashing. But you can't go too wild because you have to keep an eye on your stamina. Mash too quickly and you'll run out and lose a chunk of time, but mash too slowly and you'll be left in the dust. It's a very thoughtful way to mash buttons. Then there's the survival minigames. There is the iconic book squirm where you have to dodge falling pages in a giant book by making it to the holes in the pages before they squish you. The longer it goes, the faster the pages turn and the less holes there are available to squeeze through. You could attempt to push your rivals under the falling page, but this is a bit of a risk as you may just get squished yourself if you're not careful. In a way, it almost sort of reminds me of Mushroom Mix-Up. For legal reasons, I am showing restraint.
I had a delightful chat with Human Resources after the last video. Always remember to keep a short leash.
Another favorite of mine is Chain Chomp Fever, where you need to dodge a rampaging Chain Chomp against cracks in the floor that spew fire. At first, the Chain Chomp will get stunned by bashing into the stone walls on the side, but as the walls crumble around you, it gets increasingly more difficult, as it will immediately turn around and charge in another direction. It's a really cool concept and a lot of fun to play. The 2v2 and 3v1 minigames are also a highlight since they depend on teamwork more than ever in this entry. The Great Deflate is an often cited favorite as two players need to sink their ground pounds in order to deflate a balloon thwomp as fast as they can. It's quick, frantic fun. Hop or Pop is a great 3v1 where 3 players have to dodge the one in the spiked ball by bouncing around in balloon suits. The 3 have very limited movement and can really only get away with a well-timed triple jump, whereas the one in the spiked ball can move around freely, albeit very slowly. I can see this one being tense with friends, especially since you can accidentally bounce into each other and send one another into the spike ball. Also making their debut, Bowser minigames, a first in the series. There's only a handful here, but they are genuinely fun. Fruits of Doom is a particular highlight. Bowser rattles off a list of fruit, at first slowly, then at blazingly impossible to read speeds. At which point, you have to make your best guess as to which fruit he wants. Since the list goes slow at first, you can easily pick up maybe the first 3 or 4, but after that, it's all lucky guesses. The game also intentionally makes Bowser reflect upon what fruit you gave him for a second, so there's a good amount of tension here. I also need to give a shout out to the battle minigames in particular here. I know there are only 6, which is less than what Mario Party 3 had, but all 6 are genuinely the most fun in the entire group. There's Chain Chomp Fever, as I mentioned, but Trace Race and Pass the Peril are also good times. There's also Bowser's Bigger Blast, the only returning minigame on the list, and it's even better here. There are more plungers, more RNG, and it's pure Mario Party at its finest. Overall, a very strong selection of minigames. I pretty much like all of them. There isn't one weak link here in my opinion. They're all a lot of fun, and some are still iconic to the series, even today. And what of the boards this time around? How do they fare? Well, they sure are existing, alright. I don't think any of the boards in Mario Party 4 are bad per se, it's just that none of them particularly stand out from one another, especially since they feature the same gray pathway with the same board events and locations, and they make some questionable design choices. First, let's address the main gimmick of this game, Mega and Mini Mushrooms. Various spaces on each board are littered with mushroom spaces, where the player is given a 50-50 shot of either getting a Mega or Mini Mushroom. The Mega Mushroom works similarly to the Super Mushroom from 2 and 3, where it allows you to roll 2 dice blocks, but has the added benefit of supersizing your character. If you pass over a rival, you squish them and take 10 of their coins, which sounds cool at first. The drawback is that you skip all board events, even the star space, which is really fucking stupid. The utility of the Super Mushroom in 2 and 3 was that it allowed you to gain ground and close in on a faraway star space if you were lucky enough to roll a good number. But because of this drawback, this is stripped away, and now increasing your roll is in fact detrimental to you getting the star. Now you have to consider the question of, can I get a good roll without overshooting my target? And that's just a dumb question to have to ask yourself when you use an item. The Mini Mushroom, on the other hand, miniaturizes you, allowing you to go through blocked-off pathways akin to the Skeleton Key and experience unique board events exclusive to it. However, the downside here is that your roll is cut in half, which makes it very tricky to use. Basically, if you want to go through a mini pipe, you have to first land near the pipe, then use the mushroom, and hope to God you get a good enough roll to pass through it. It is way too easy to undershoot your target and waste your item. Super Mini Mushrooms can alleviate this a little bit, but it's still not ideal, and they're rare to come across anyway. I often find myself not bothering with these at all. Both of these mechanics are great ideas on paper, but they add an element of RNG that frankly shouldn't be there. I get that these restrictions are an attempt to balance both items out, but it just ends up being more frustrating than fun. Speaking of RNG, these boards take things way too far. For instance, Toad's Midway Madness is kind of annoying to get around, simply because the pathways the teacups drop you off at changes every time someone passes over it. This means that whoever is unlucky enough to have low rolls or be the last one to go is often screwed over purely because of bad luck. And let me tell you, this game loves making me go last. Most of my recordings, I rolled a 1 or 2 when deciding the turn order. Goomba's Greedy Gala is another unfortunate example. Although this board is my favorite of the bunch, especially thematically, there's no denying that this roulette wheel here in the center is the exact same thing I complained about with Waluigi Island from Mario Party 3. There are 4 directions you could be forced to take, and unless you have the cash to bribe Goomba to get where you need to go, which you won't early on in the game, chances are you will be placed in a spot you don't want to be unless you're lucky enough to land where you actually need to go. Even worse, on some pathways, the only way to escape this loop is by losing a dice roll to a Goomba in order to get sent back to the start. Happening spaces can also screw you over, since the ones at the top could send you to the opposite section of the board. It's oddly very harsh for what's considered to be a 2-star difficulty board. You would think the items you buy from the shop might mitigate some of the RNG, but they are strangely very downplayed in this entry. I think there's only like 2 item shops per board, and they're usually very spread apart and hard to get to. It doesn't help that there really aren't any new items here, they're all repurposed ones. The Boo Bell became the Boo Crystal, the Lucky Lamp became the Chain Chomp Call, the Warp Block became the Warp Pipe. It's all very similar to what we already had. The rare items from Mario Party 3 have also been removed, with the sole exception of the barter box, as it's simply been reskinned as the swap card. So it's a bit disappointing on that front. Adding to the RNG are the last 5 turn events. Rather than simply doubling the worth of red and blue spaces, there have been additional events added that are randomly chosen by the player in last place. These can range from changing red spaces to Bowser spaces, red spaces to reversal of fortune spaces, aka chance time, and reducing the cost of star spaces to a grand total of free. That's right, free star spaces are now a thing in Mario Party. Who the fuck thought this was a good idea? This event breaks the game clean in half, as money loses all of its meaning, and anyone who is anyone can now obtain stars so long as they reach the star space. It's one thing to give the last place players a fighting chance, it's a completely other thing to snap the neck of the person in first place. This is going way too far. However, with all that said, even if the game leans a bit more into RNG, I'd still consider party modes to be a fun time. Since the minigames reward skill for the most part, experienced players can still have a fighting chance and a fun time regardless. So the party mode is fun, if a bit luck-based. Now how does the single player experience hold up? Let's give it a whirl. The plot of this game is pretty basic. In fact, it's too basic. Going back to the infamous FMV cutscene, the cast is met with a very sudden jump scare as the party bag explodes and out pops the 5 party hosts of each board who then invite them to, party with them. And that's it. Yes, really. Well, did you know that Mario's birthday is apparently on October 27th and not March 10th? Because apparently it is our birthday, and the host thought it would be a cute idea to drag us into an interdimensional cube to participate in several parties. Strangely, they're holding our presents for ransom until we've beaten their boards and attained the title of Party Star from each one. Yeah, Party Star! Who needs the title of being the superstar of the freaking universe? I wanna be the Party Star! I know, I'm really reaching here. This is kind of lame. In Mario Party 3, you competed to obtain the Elder Star and Universal Power. And here, this is a much more bare-bones scenario. You're doing the exact same thing as last time, just beating each board. There's not even a duel mode to add to the experience. And in fact, there are no duel minigames in Mario Party 4 at all. You just beat a board, beat the board's host at a minigame, obtain their present to you, rinse, and repeat. You can do any board in any order you'd like, so it has that going for it, but not much else. After you beat the last host, Bowser shows up and makes you play on Bowser's Gnarly Party, the one unlockable board in this game. It's a decent board for what it is, it just features a lot of traps. Passing by Bowser himself can lead to some major consequences, so there's that, but this board really didn't give me any trouble at all. None of them did, in fact. Even the final minigame, where you face off with Bowser and his minions in a 5-phase boss battle, wasn't too much trouble. It's just some platforming with a final confrontation with Bowser at the end, where you need to trick him into getting caught in these triangles of light. It's really nothing to write home about. It took me like 2 tries, and I had to restart the minigame from the beginning upon losing it, but it really didn't put up too much of a fight. I was able to beat the story mode in a grand total of 2 streams playing on normal difficulty. I had fun, but this was just too easy. If you enjoyed my struggle in ranting about the story mode in Mario Party 3, I'm sorry to disappoint you, but this story mode just wasn't that notable for me. Overall, I'd say it was a breeze. It didn't have any high highs or low lows, it just kinda happened. I will say though, for as basic as it is, its ending is still very endearing. After all the trouble he puts you through, Bowser actually wishes you a happy birthday and gives you your final present. You get a constellation in your own image and celebrate your special day. It's a sweet ending that's very endearing, if a bit basic. I know I've said a lot of negative things about this entry, and I'll be the first to say that Mario Party 4 is far from perfect. It has some interesting ideas with the Mega and Mini gimmick and cool board concepts. But it unfortunately takes a few steps back from Mario Party 3, leading far more into the RNG territory the series would become infamous for. But with that being said, those minigames are amazing. Again, some of the best we've had in the series to date. I think that Mario Party 4 has very strong aspects to it, and its weaker points aren't bad enough to pull it too far down. It's a perfectly fine entry in the series, and it's as fun as I remember. As a last note, there's also the extra mode, which is actually kinda cool. Let's touch on these real quick. The main two extras are Mega Board Mayhem and Mini Board Mayhem. These are kind of quick-fire boards that feature no minigames or even stars to speak of. The goal of both boards is to end the game with the most amount of coins. In Mega Board Mayhem, you do this by squishing your opponents with a Mega Mushroom and setting traps to take their coins. And in Mini Board Mayhem, you need to evade the copious amount of red spaces and Bowser spaces by utilizing the mini mushrooms correctly and avoid danger. They're fun distractions. There's also a ton of extra minigames such as Challenge Book Squirm, where you play an endless version of Book Squirm to achieve a high score. It's like they knew this game was a winner. But then there's entirely new minigames not featured in the main party mode at all. I almost wonder if this is unused content that was thrown into the game last minute as a bonus. Doors of Doom in particular, a game where you choose a door and hope that Bowser isn't behind it, kind of gives me the vibe that this is a Bowser minigame that didn't quite make the cut. It's an interesting thought at least. There are also two Rumble-based minigames. In Barrel Baron, you need to figure out where the oil veins are based on how much your controller vibrates. That's neat. And then there's Mushroom Medic. You have a line of patients that are given a poison mushroom, and you have to feel their heartbeats through the controller rumbling and figure out who is the most affected by it? Geez, that's a bit dark. It's pretty easy until you get to your 10th patient. After that, the controller vibrations get harder to distinguish, and there are more patients to sample in the 10 seconds you are given to figure it out. Ah, damn it, I got the answer wrong. Well, that's kind of annoying.
Oh my god, did Toad just fucking die on me? Jesus Christ, what the hell? He died! He actually fucking died! Dead! Gone! All because of my malpractice!
Finish! New record!
Oh, I got a new record? Well, that's just fucking fantastic! Was that for how many people I didn't kill? I'm sorry! Are we really celebrating this right now? I feel like I need to be arrested! I killed somebody!
Do not worry, Sean, we'll just say he had pre-existing conditions. The feds will buy it.
That doesn't clear my guilty conscience, Terry!
Quick, go to the next game, everyone will forget this.
Okay, here's Mario Party 5, let's go! A game about dreams so I can escape this everlasting nightmare!
Okay, so Mario Party 5, in my opinion, fixes the issues that were present in 4 while also introducing its own unique systems and mechanics that make it stand out more as well. But first, check this out. It's the Star Spirits from Paper Mario, a non-Mario RPG acknowledging the Mario RPG game's unique characters. I bet Miyamoto is frothing at the mouth right now. Anywho, to start with, Mario Party 5 does away with the Mega and Mini Mushroom system 4 had. No longer do you have to guess whether or not your unlucky rolls will make you pass by the star space, or stop you short of the Mini Mushroom pipe. The Mushroom and Golden Mushrooms have been brought back to their former glory. So that's great. Instead, Mario Party 5 introduced capsules as the main board gimmick. And unfortunately, the only board gimmick. I don't know whether they were attempting to streamline things in this entry, but gone are the item shops, the unique board events, everything, and I mean everything, has been simplified into the capsule system. Basically, every board has a capsule machine that doles out capsules to players who pass by it at random. That's right, at random. No longer can you buy mushrooms or magic lamps from the item shop and strategize with them. You are at the mercy of this mustache machine, as he will only give you powerful capsules if he so wills it. And it's not just items either, even entire board events, such as Chance Time and the Koopa Bank, have been crammed into these things. All for the low price of free! That's right, you don't have to pay for any of the capsules you receive from him, so there's never a reason to turn him down. This, as you may imagine, sounds like it tilts the game very heavily into being an RNG nightmare, and yeah, it does. But at the very least, the capsule machines are spaced out a fair amount from each other. It's not as if you're running into these things every 5 seconds. You have to make a lot of effort to get some of them, so characters aren't constantly swimming in capsules as you may think. Now, what makes capsules unique from items is the fact you can place them on spaces within a specified range ahead of you for your opponents to land on. This means that for the first time in the series, players have the ability to create their own board events and pseudo-customize the boards to their strategy. And of course, like items, you can use them on yourself, albeit at a specified fee. And I think this is a smart design choice because it rolls the spirit of the item shop into the capsule system. You cannot merely spam mushroom capsules, and you certainly can't steal coins and stars from other players for free. So to give credit, it's balanced in that way. Regardless, this does nothing to alleviate just how random this system is. Because you get these capsules at complete random, this removes any ability to use them strategically. If you need a mushroom capsule to get you where you need to go, you better pray to RNGesus that capsule machine man here will give you what you need. And that being said, because almost every single board event has been crammed into these capsules, this also removes a lot of what made the boards unique in Mario Party 4, and especially in the N64 trilogy. The only unique thing about these boards is their themes and their happening spaces. That's it. The boards this time around are themed around dreams. Dreams of toys, dreams of rainbows, even dreams of the future. Remember when I had those? I fucking don't. I really enjoy the dream theme behind this game. I think it gives the game a solid identity. Even though some think these boards are a bit on the generic side, I personally like how mysterious they are. Who are having these dreams? What are they like? It's a bit of mystery that kind of reminds me of the lore from Mario Party 1, albeit not as deep. See, I choose to personally look into the mystery and fill the gaps in with my imagination. That's why I like them so much. That's what 9-year-old me did back in 2003. However, I will not fault anyone who thinks these boards are too generic. Like I said, there are no board events, no unique mechanics, it's all just capsules and the spaces you place them on. So if I put aside my own imagination, objectively speaking, I could easily make the argument that these boards lack any personality or depth. Mechanically, they offer almost nothing and rely on the capsules to make the experience of each party memorable. This, in my opinion, is Mario Party 5's biggest detriment and what holds it back from being truly great. I like where they were going with the dream theme and the capsule machine, but the former is too generic and the latter is too random. That being said, I'd be hard-pressed to say that I really didn't enjoy this entry regardless. And that, like 4, is also largely due to the minigames. I praised 4 for introducing some really good, memorable, and iconic minigames, but 5 knocks it out of the park even further. Let's go down my favorites. Leaf Leap, a battle royale minigame where the goal is to climb the vine as fast as you can by leaping from leaf to leaf. Leaves spawn left and right at random, so keeping an eye on what direction to jump is key. My favorite part is how you can ascend the atmosphere and even reach outer space. Pushy Penguins. Now this is a huge favorite of many. A crowd of penguins rush into the water and you have to do your best to slip through the crowd and be the last man standing. It's a fun and iconic addition. Ground Pound Down. The objective here is to reach the end of the mineshaft by ground pounding down as fast as you can. The key to winning is to look ahead and make sure you burst your buttocks on the soft, malleable dirt and avoid as many boulders as you can. Coney Island. This is another fan favorite where you're tasked with catching ice cream falling from the sky. It's fun to squeeze by and push around your opponents to construct an impossibly big ice cream cone that no man could ever finish. And finally, I have to give credit to Frozen Frenzy. This minigame pits you in an arena level where you must collect crystals while avoiding falling icicles, or else you'll drop your collection and have to start from scratch. It doesn't stop there though, because you can attack your rivals to make them drop their crystals and collect them for yourself. Do you collect as many crystals as you can and avoid your rivals until time runs out? Or do you play aggressively and try to take theirs but risk losing your own in the process? It's a rare example of a minigame that encourages strategy and rewards skill. It truly stands out from the rest of the pack. Yeah, a lot of good minigames are packed into this title, and it's the big reason why this entry in the series became one of my favorites as a kid. But you know what? As an adult, I could say that this isn't even the best part. What really makes this game truly shine, in my opinion, is the story mode. It really brings the whole dream theme together cohesively. Let's check it out. Bowser is up to no good again, surprise surprise, as he wishes to invade others' dreams Freddy Krueger style and make their dreams in his image as he pursues his own personal, mysterious wish. Mistar then tasks us with defending these dreams by giving Bowser the boot. How is this done? Well, here's where things get interesting. Story mode, I would say, plays less like party mode and more like the dual board maps from Mario Party 3. This is because the game doesn't make you go through the standard party mode at all. Instead, you face off with the 3 Koopa Kids, red, blue, and green, and attempt to drain them of their coins via duel minigames. If you so much as cross their path, you initiate a duel with one of them. The Shy Guy determines how many coins each will win and lose, and then you go head to head. And this took a bit getting used to for me. Now, I grew up mostly playing the Battle Royale minigames, which left me at a bit of a disadvantage because this mode puts far more emphasis on the duel, 2v2, and 1v3 minigames. This, unfortunately, limits the variety of games you could play, only really utilizing 37 of the total 77 minigames in the entire game. But I wouldn't say it's lackluster. I do lament being given a lot of the same minigames over and over, but it thankfully didn't happen often enough to where I felt it was unbearable. I just think it was a bit repetitive. But thankfully, this mode is actually very fast-paced and short. All of the Koopa Kids roll and move around the board simultaneously, so you're not stuck waiting ages for your turn to come around. And similar to Mario Party 3 duel maps, minigames do not occur after every turn. As I said, duel minigames are initiated whenever you and a Koopa Kid cross paths, or someone lands in a versus space, a space unique to this mode. When one lands on a versus space, this is where 2v2 and 1v3 minigames occur. The loser needs to give away 5 coins to each rival, so if you win, you'll gain 15 coins collectively from the Koopa Kids, but this also means that you'll be giving away that amount if you lose, so these spaces are high risk, high reward. During the 2v2 minigames, Toad will jump in and assist you on your team, and he's as useful as you might expect.
Here, I'll take them in a hand. Alright. Alright, and then you just push that to 8. Come on, Toad!
Exactly, not at all. So as for the mode itself, you are tasked with protecting 4 of the 6 main boards in the game, and the difficulty ranges from laughably easy to outright mean. The first 3 boards, Pirate Dream, Toy Dream, and Future Dream, all went quite smoothly, and I beat them on the first try. The 4th board, Undersea Dream, is where the difficulty spike started to stick me, as I had a bad string of losses that were just plain unlucky. I lost the dual head waiter where I had to toss a Bowser bomb back and forth because I miscounted the hidden timer. Then I accidentally ran into an electric wall while trying to avoid the amps during shock absorbers. Finally, I was dealt a death blow in Kirby Curbs as I simply could not stop hitting the sides of the railing and the Koopa Kids won the race. Having to give 5 coins to each of them, I lost everything and had to start from scratch. But hey, no worries, this isn't as brutal as Mario Party 3. Because of the mode's quick pace, restarting, while annoying, isn't as nearly as much of a setback as replaying an entire 15-turn game. Is it irritating? Sure, but it doesn't feel as defeating. Although Mr. telling me to try harder is quite the fucking slap in the face. I'm sorry, and what are you doing exactly? Fucking Patrick Star looking ass bitch. That aside, it feels easier to dust yourself off and get right back up, so let's try again. My second attempt went a bit smoother, although it wasn't without its fair share of mistakes. I got a bit discouraged when losing as shock absorbers again. I am also very, very bad at the following block puzzles, and lost a bunch of minigames I'm normally very good at. But refusing to give up, I hit them hard on the versus minigames, and won by the skin of my teeth. After that attempt, I moved on to the next and last board, Bowser's Nightmare. This one was mean. Fitting, as it is Bowser's Dream. First attempt, off the bat, I lost a 1v3 minigame and was forced to give 15 of my coins away. Ouch. Then I had the last of my coins taken away, not by losing a minigame, but to a spiny shell that Green Koopa Kid landed on. That was a dirty way to lose. Wait, no, scratch that. You wanna know what's really dirty? How I lost my next attempt. Once again, I lost the first versus minigame and got drained of my coins early on. Then I lost the next minigame, Big Top Drop, after that, despite the fact the ball clearly collided with the Koopa Kid shell here. What the hell? And I lost my remaining coins. My god, that wasn't even close. That was just an immediate loss. But I'll give it to the game, at least it ended my misery early. Next attempt, I finally broke my bad luck streak because this went much better. Although I guess you couldn't get more unlucky than the last attempt. Regardless, I was able to consistently win minigames and keep the Koopa Kids from gaining too much momentum. I was so lucky in fact that the deciding battle against Red Koopa Kid was a button mashing minigame. And you know how great I am at those. The day this game wins a button mashing game against me is the day that I lose my Mario Party license forever. We are not losing this. Absolutely not. There's no way in hell. I just swore.
I don't care.
This is amazing. Look at me go. Look how much I'm pressing that button.
We tapped away to victory and cleared the final board. Fed up with our meddling, Bowser challenges us to a one-on-one in the final battle, Bowser's Frightmare. This is easily the most intense final battle yet, a 4-phase boss battle gauntlet and a test of endurance. The first phase, Bowser throws dozens of Mecha Koopas at you that you have to avoid attacks from and destroy before time runs out. I didn't quite get the memo the first time around and thought you merely needed to avoid them, but whatever. It's really easy, just make sure you avoid damage as much as possible because the next phase involves moving fire rings that you have to skillfully avoid until time runs out, and you'll almost certainly get hit a few times here, so be careful. Phase 3, Bowser, now clearly peeved, punches the TV and takes the fight directly to us. The goal here is to get him to jump on the same tile 3 times as it cracks under his weight the more times he jumps on it. He moves really slowly and predictably, so avoiding him here is actually very easy, especially compared to the fire rings. Once you succeeded in outsmarting him, he falls to the floor and we follow suit. Down below, Bowser then resorts to drinking some, growth juice, I guess? He grows to the size of a house, but because of his immense weight, he gets stuck in the floor and is now immobile. This is the final phase, and it's a pretty simple one. The pattern is basically avoid the energy balls Bowser chucks at you, let him roast the rocks he leaves behind with his fire, take a ball of light, avoid a shockwave, throw it at him, rinse, and repeat. I really like this boss battle. It's longer than Mario Party 3's bout and more challenging than 4's Gauntlet. It provides a good amount of tension, is fluid to control, and the situation feels much more helpless and dire because of the arena's small size. It's a great final battle. Once we defeat the Koopa King, he finally yields, but doesn't seem to be broken up about it. As it turns out, his dream was to have a great rival to fight against, and while he wasn't able to conquer anyone's dreams, he was able to find a worthy adversary. Honestly, that is really wholesome. And that's Mario Party 5's Story Mode. It's a genuinely fun, fast-paced mode that keeps you interested throughout and doesn't overstay its welcome. In fact, my one complaint is that it's too short. You don't even have to go through every board, just 4 of the main 6, and then Bowser's Nightmare. I cleared this mode so quickly that I was able to do everything on one stream in less than 3 hours. That is a far cry from the marathon I had to endure for Mario Party 3. I would even say this mode is the polar opposite to that one. I had fun. It's a really solid experience. It gives Mario Party 5 a solid identity. But I hope you didn't think we were done, because there's actually even more to talk about, such as the Team Party mode where parties can be played in 2v2. Now this was a feature introduced to Mario Party 4, but it hardly mattered there, and for one reason. Coins are completely separated between teammates, which made coordinating strategies a bit hard. Say there's a battle royale game and one person on a team wins. Only that person receives 10 coins while the other is left out to dry. Mario Party 5 solves this issue by allowing the coins and stars to be shared between teammates. If one person wins a battle royale minigame, both players benefit, and that's how it should be. Aside from this, team members also share items, so there's strategy to be had here too. However, one, albeit obvious drawback, is that if you need to unlock 3v1 minigames, you'll have to play the actual party mode since the game doesn't allow for teammates to go against each other. But Team Party is a fun spin on the traditional party mode that I think is perfect for, say, siblings to play together, so they don't choke each other out after little Timmy steals a star from his older brother. Not that I know the feeling, of course. Only child represent! And lastly, there's the extra content. Although, compared to Mario Party 4, the bonus mode is a bit lighter on content this time. There's volleyball that controls so terribly and I can't figure out how to spike the goddamn ball, ice hockey with weird physics that I play for a grand total of 10 seconds, and the car battle, the most fleshed out game here. Although, that's not saying much. Players move around on a board of cards to reach and obtain star cards. Directions are randomized, so you don't know what direction any card is taking until you get to it. There are also no minigames, you just roll a die and hope for the best. It, is definitely a thing, I guess. It's a bit disappointing considering how Mario Party 4 had a good amount of extra content to play around with, even 2 entirely new and unique boards to play on. But I think this is because the effort went into the other bonus mode in this game, Super Duel Mode. This is a mode where you buy mech parts with the points you've received in party mode, construct a machine, and battle against other players. And you know what? Despite how little I've played this mode, I can see it being fun to others. I think this mode was inspired by shows like Robot Wars and BattleBots, as I vaguely remember those robot competition shows being popular around the late 90s and early 2000s. I don't have any sources on this, of course, this is just a personal observation. Anyway, this mode is pretty fun, although not my cup of tea. It's fun to create your own mech, but actual combat just boils down to driving around and shooting your opponent more than they can shoot you. Whatever you do, don't bother picking the slow machines. It doesn't matter how durable you try to make yourself, lighter mechs will destroy you with their higher speed. And for some reason, Boo's mech just straight up turns invisible, forcing you to look at the radar to see his location. Kinda broken, don't you think? He's really quick, and his Mr. Eye-Gun packs a punch, so I really wasn't able to beat him during my recording sessions. It's not a very balanced mode. It's a neat side mode, and nothing more. And that's all I want to say about Mario Party 5. To best summarize my thoughts, I think this is what I would call a solid entry in the series that is held back by a few missteps. I like the capsule system, but its random nature detracts from how well the item system worked in previous games. And in turn, this inadvertently makes the boards very bland and not very memorable. But on the positive side of things, the game is jam-packed with very memorable and iconic minigames, and its story mode is easily the best and most replayable single-player campaign to date. If you're curious to check it out, I say do so. At the very least, it definitely has the most stable political party. What I would give to make Donkey Kong our Secretary of Defense.
So Mario Party 4 to 5 are what I personally consider to be great, albeit flawed entries into the series, but then comes along Mario Party 6. And you know, I remember walking around the gaming section of Walmart back in 2004, and there were 2 games on display. There was The Incredible Hulk, Ultimate Destruction, and Mario Party 6. And I even remember the minigame that was being played, Snow World.
I said out loud to myself, they made a 6th one? I guess I just assumed they were done. Why would they make a 6th game in this successful series? Money? No, they would never. Anyway, I begged my parents to get it for me, and that Christmas, I unwrapped Mario Party 6, and it went on to become my favorite entry in the entire series, bar none. But why? For starters, let's start with the story. The sun Brighton and the moon Twyla have a bit of an ego, and they argue over who is the coolest, awesomest, and superior being among the stars. And much to my disbelief, this has absolutely no repercussions on the world itself. No tides change, the Earth's surface doesn't get hotter, nothing like that. But Brighton and Twyla are so mad at each other that now they won't even look at each other's direction when they're together, and we can't have that. So Mario and crew decide to solve the squabble by collecting power stars through, of course, a Mario Party. And that's really it for the story until the end, because despite the game having a dedicated solo mode, there is no story mode to get through. Instead, the game tasks you to collect stars by getting them in regular parties and playing solo mode. Solo mode itself just consists of 3 main boards in which you have to land on this rare minigame space here to complete it. But you shouldn't just rush to the end, because your main objective here is to collect coins, and you do that by landing on minigame spaces and beating the Koopa Kids. Once you land on the space, you are rewarded with coins you got on the board, as well as some bonuses. A general bonus, how many minigames you won and the difficulty you chose, an extra 10 coins per every new record you set in minigames, and how many minigames you won. Total all of that together, divide that by 20, and you get your total star count. The big caveat to solo mode, though, is that you can actually overshoot the rare minigame space if you don't exactly land on it. If you do this, well, you get nothing. Now, none of these boards are hard really, but this mode is the very definition of risk versus reward. While it is generally a short experience and losing progress isn't a huge deal most of the time, it can also turn out to be the most stressful Mario Party experience you will ever have in your goddamn life. Now, let's talk about the most stressful Mario Party experience I've ever had in my goddamn life. Bowser's Infernal Tower. Bowser's Infernal Tower has a gimmick where if you land in a happening space, a chain chomp will knock you down to the bottom and you'll have to start from scratch. Now this can be very lucrative, as theoretically, you can endlessly get yourself knocked off in order to play more minigames and get more coins. However, there's a catch. Remember how I said you get coins by winning minigames against the Koopa Kids? Well, if you lose, they'll cut your coin total in half, and if you lose at a Bowser minigame, you lose everything. You need to win these minigames. You have no room to fuck up. And Bowser's Infernal Tower naturally has the most Bowser and Koopa Kid spaces than the other 2 boards. In comparison, the other 2 boards were cakewalks. This is a trial. So during my 9-hour and 20-minute live stream, I am never doing that again unless it's for charity, by the way, I had one instance where I played on Bowser's Infernal Tower. Initially, I was kind of speeding through the round and wasn't happy with my coin count, so I decided to intentionally get myself knocked off. This turned out to be the biggest mistake in my life, because after this, I got knocked back down not once, not twice, but 5 times. 5. Here are some samples from that madness.
Oh, we're going down again. Oh my god, this is the one that never ends. Okay. Let's, once more with feeling. Okay, I really hope I don't hit another question mark space. I really don't. Don't want to, please. Please don't. Oh no. You're kidding! Oh, it never ends. Oh, it never ends. It never ends. This is the game that never ends. This is the game that never ends. Never ends. Never ends. Oh, I'm so nervous now. I have so many coins. I just want to be done. I want to be done. I want to go. I want to leave, please. May I leave, please, with my amount of coins? Oh, Lord. Lord Almighty, help me. Okay, please don't knock me down again. Please, please, just let me go. Just let me go. Oh my god, no! It will never let me go! It's never gonna let me go! It's... I am stuck here. I am stuck here. This does hurt. This is pain. Oh my god. Please don't send me down again. Please, dear god. No, you're kidding me. You're fucking kidding me. Oh my god!
It's not scripted. It's not.
On the last round, I even landed on a Bowser space, which felt like the ultimate test of will. And luckily, I managed to beat it. Finally, I was able to get within range of a rare minigame space and use a slow-go shroom to land exactly right on target. And for my efforts, I got almost 1,500 coins and 74 stars. Listen, if BDSM is too tame for you, try playing through Bowser's Infernal Tower. Trust me, you will feel adrenaline like never before. And that's all there is to the solo mode. It might seem lame on the surface, but actually, it plays into what I like most about Mario Party 6 above all other Mario parties. The story mode isn't a separate mode, rather, it's seamlessly integrated into the world itself. The world map is split in half between Brighton and Twyla, they drift away from each other whenever they're featured on the same screen, and it even extends into the board design. The main gimmick of Mario Party 6 is that every 3 turns, each board shifts between day and night, which changes board events, pathways, shifts conditions for getting the star, some minigames, and so much more. For instance, in Towering Treetop, flower pathways will change upon nightfall and open up certain areas. In Fair Square, Brighton will sell stars for 20 coins apiece like normal, but at nighttime, Twyla will roll a die and determine a new star value. This can be as low as 5 coins or as high as 40. And in Clockwork Castle, you have to chase DK down to get a star, but when Nightfall appears, Bowser takes his place and will steal your stars if you catch up to him. This leads to a very interesting dynamic where you need to know when to chase the star space and when to avoid it. It's a very thrilling board. The day and night cycle is just a really awesome gimmick that not only provides variety to each board, but makes the whole experience feel incredibly cohesive. Every board feels well designed, memorable, and most importantly, fun. Since getting stars feeds into the main objective, it gives the multiplayer party mode a lot more meaning for single players. The story serves a purpose rather than being isolated as a single player distraction, and mechanically, I would say this is the most fine-tuned and balanced a Mario Party game has ever been. Items feel like they're at their best here, as many of them are unique but cut the RNG that plagued Mario Party 5. You could still get them randomly on the board, but now we have the return of proper item shops. No longer do you have to pray to get that golden mushroom, it's all right there, and you can still throw orbs onto other spaces for your opponents to land on. The variety from 5 is still here, but it's much more controlled and allows for players to strategize more effectively since they are now all purchasable in the shops. And the minigames? Boy, if I listed every single one of my favorite minigames, we'd be here all day, because these are, without a doubt, the best minigames in the entire series. Up until now, for me, most of the fun minigames have been largely Battle Royale games. Here though, every category has games that I love, so here's one favorite from each. Battle Royale. Snow World. Tap ABXY in a consistent rhythm to maximize your spin. It's simple and fun to master. 1v3. Dust Till Dawn. 3 players dust a large room while the one cleans a small bedroom. It's unique and hectic. 2v2. Burn Style, a survival minigame where teams have to jump over a rotating spike pillar. This one is brutal the longer it goes on, it's very tense. Battle. Control Stick. Mario Party 6 introduced the concept of dual stick minigames, utilizing the C-Stick for the first time. This is basically a fast-paced game of Simon Says where players have to tap both sticks in the direction shown on screen. It's a very unique idea that freshens up the minigame catalog a bit. And Duel. Full Tilt, running on a tilting stage to race to the finish. I'm literally so good at this one that I could do it flawlessly. It really exemplifies how fine-tuned the platforming controls are in this game. There's not a single minigame here that I dislike. They're all high quality, well polished, and fun. But what does this all lead up to? How do you beat this game? That's where the Star Bank comes in. This is where you spend all the stars you've collected over the course of the game. You can buy things like Brutal Difficulty, unlock characters, unlock boards, taunts, and even the credits. It takes so many stars to unlock everything. In my 9+ hour live stream, I attempted to get the remaining stars I needed to complete the bank. However, once I saw that my star total was over 1,000, I quietly adjusted my expectations. It's certainly a good thing you don't have to unlock everything here to beat the game. All you have to do is buy Miracle Book pages. I think you need only around 400 to 500 stars. It doesn't take much, especially if you play solo mode a bunch. Once you gather all the pages, you're treated to this cute little pop-up book where you see charming animations of everyone partying it up. It's almost endearing to see all these memories pop up before me, seeing the characters play minigames I loved as a kid. It's simple, but it's just so charming. It felt personal in a way. Maybe that's nostalgia, but If a game can make you feel something like this, it's obviously doing something right. That right there was the love I have for Mario Party 6. Mario Party 6 truly shines as a... Oh shit, what happened to the mic quality? Why am I speaking at 240p? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm accidentally talking through my GameCube microphone instead of my Elgato one. An easy mistake to make, really. That audio quality is terrible, but hey, what can you really expect when your audio input is a GameCube memory card slot? It was never plugged in. I lied. Everything's fake. This whole thing's fake. It's a charade. It's a charade. Yep, it's finally time to talk about this stupid fucking thing. The GameCube microphone. A neat, novel little peripheral that reads audio inputs, not dissimilar from the mic featured in the Nintendo DS. It makes its debut here in Mario Party 6, and yeah, it's cool, I guess. You can play some simple minigames with this, like the rolling log game where you screech commands into the mic, or yell attacks aboard this giant-ass tank with flamethrowers and lasers. It's a quirky little gimmick, but unfortunately doesn't add too much here. There's not many minigames that support it, and it's kinda shoved off into the corner of the world map. This is probably every parent's favorite game accessory, especially when the kid is screeching, "Run, run, 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 up, down, jump, Mario Party!" at the top of their lungs. Fun fact, the only two games to utilize this mic are Mario Party 7 and Odama, a war strategy game where you command armies. It's kind of cool, actually. But in Mario Party 6, it's a cute little novelty and not much else. I think this thing needed a few more minigames to help it feel worthwhile. As it is, it just feels like a tacked-on, isolated mode. Sorry about that random tangent and that emotional bit there. I really didn't know where to put this thing, and honestly, I don't think the devs knew either. But yeah, man, Mario Party 6. I fucking adore this game. It has the best story, the best minigames, the best gimmick, the best boards, and in my eyes, is simply the best game in the series. My favorite Mario Party game. So, where does that leave Mario Party 7? This is a bit awkward, isn't it? Despite the looming end of the GameCube's life and the advent of the Nintendo Revolution, Hudson Soft went and made their 7th entry into the series. I guess they just had some additional ideas? This is the entry that I'm least familiar with, and it's mostly because I kind of shunned it as a kid. Why? Well, let me start with the story. Previously in the Mario Party universe, we had the literal sun and moon fighting each other. Before that, Bowser was invading dreams, attempting to forge them in his image. And in this game, Mario and his friends go on a cruise vacation and don't invite Bowser. This makes Bowser mad, and he swears to ruin their vacation. Yeah, this is about as lame as Mario Party 4's story mode. At the time, I hated this plot, but I will say that my reasoning was a bit immature. Let's rewind to late 2005. I was 11 years old, the GameCube was floundering in sales while the PS2 and Xbox dominated. Nintendo was seen as the kiddie brand, and I was often made fun of for even liking Mario games. And this game didn't really help matters. Every kid wants to impress their peers and feel cool. They simply care too much about what others think and try too hard to fit in. Unfortunately, that's the mindset I had at the time, and I refused to play it much. I know now as an adult that people should just like what they like and not be afraid to enjoy things that bring them happiness. It's just not fair to the game. So, going in with an open mind, let me objectively ask two questions. What does this entry bring into the series? And does it improve the foundation of what we have in any significant way? Well, yes and no. It's a bit of a mixed bag. First, let's get my least favorite aspect out of the way, the story mode, or solo cruise as it's called in this entry. Unfortunately, Mario Party 7 forgoes the open structure that I loved so much from 6, and once again, delegates the story mode to its own separate experience. To its credit though, I do like the approach here, even if it is isolated. Solo cruise plays out more like a mission mode, and you are given a singular task to complete on each board. In Neon Heights, for instance, you need to obtain 3 stars in hidden treasure chests. In Windmillville, you need to be the first to repair 3 windmills on the board. It kind of strikes the balance of 5-story mode, where you don't need to play an entire board, a la Mario Party 3, but instead just have to complete a small challenge. And in 7's case, each board has a different task to complete, so there is variety here. But if I like the structure, why is it my least favorite then? Well, it's just a small nitpick, really. A minor one. Did you know this game is made for children? Well, apparently, someone on the development team forgot that fact because this solo mode is the absolute most brutal and unforgiving story mode yet. I am not kidding. Let's go back to my live stream, shall we? The first board, Grand Canal, took 3 attempts. Indeed, 3 fucking attempts to clear the first board. That's as bad as Mario Party 3, except wait, it gets better. The goal here was to be the first to obtain 2 stars on the board. Sounds easy, right? Well, the first attempt literally only lasted a grand total of 5 minutes because I kept getting low dice rolls, and Luigi was able to snipe both stars back to back with a golden mushroom. Well, that was certainly something, wasn't it? Maybe it was just bad luck. Let's try again. This time I'm squaring off with Boo. I immediately land on a Bowser space, lose the minigame, and get half my coins taken. Boo, on the other hand, got higher rolls and then used a magic orb that doubled his dice block for 2 turns. With this, he was able to effortlessly secure the first star. Then, I lost the duel minigame Apes of Wrath. He took what little coins I had and left me with nothing. Next turn, he used another magic wand and got his second star. At this point, my teeth were just aching from how hard I was getting curb stomped. If you watched my Mario Party 2 and 3 review, you know that I had immense difficulty with the first board in story mode. And while this wasn't part due to bad luck, in hindsight, I consider my inexperience with the minigames to be the most detrimental hindrance. Once I got over that hurdle, my progress in story mode progressed a little easier. Aside from Spiny Desert, of course, that board could still go fuck itself. In Mario Party 7, I feel like my losses so far have been due to sheer bad luck, and being that this is the first board, this really didn't do much to inspire my confidence. Thankfully, in attempt 3, I was finally able to get my dice rolls working for me again and actually stood a fighting chance, although it still wasn't a cakewalk by any means. It was back and forth, but I eventually managed to get a golden mushroom and pull ahead. I secured my second star, and finally moved on. The next board, Pagoda Peak, was pretty straightforward. All I had to do was get 100 coins and make it to the top to purchase a star. Not much to report here. I got a good handle on the minigame, so obtaining the necessary funds wasn't an issue for me. After I won an easy duel minigame, Hip Hop Drop, I took half of Yoshi's coins and pretty much locked my victory down. Rolling a 10 the next turn, I scaled to the peak, bought the star, and won without issue. Moving on. Pyramid Park was next, and this was a bit rough. My mission for this board was to steal a star back from the bandit by chasing him down with one of the chain chomps. Then, I had to take it to the Sphinx in the center of the board to win. At first, everything went as planned. I managed to retrieve the star pretty quickly, but then Peach here got the jump on me late into the game. Rolling a 14 with the chain chomp, she stole a star right out from under me. Unfortunately, I wasn't in an ideal spot on the board to catch a ride on another chomp, and because she was so close to the Sphinx, it was pretty much game over. Seeing as there was no way to win, I exited out of the board and restarted. Attempt 2. This time my opponent was Luigi. He managed to snag the star early on due to some lucky rolls. Luckily, this was pretty early on, and he was nowhere near the Sphinx, so I had time to make up for lost ground. He managed to hold on to it for the majority of the round until I made my way to the red chain chomp in the northwest corner of the board. This chain chomp is special as it allows you to roll 3 dice blocks instead of just 2. I rolled a 12, caught up to him, and took the star back. After that, it was pretty much a straight shot to the Sphinx. I turned in my good boy star and won the board. Our next destination is Neon Heights, and hey, guess what time it is, everyone? That's right, it's time for everyone's favorite board gimmick, fake star spaces. You loved it so much in Spiny Desert, so we brought it back out of our bullshit vault for a limited time only. Why would you want the certainty of a real star space when you can have 3 potential star spaces that you won't find out if they're the actual star space or not until you trek all the way over to it? This time with the brilliant bonus of being sent back to the start if you're wrong. Fake star spaces, get yours today for as low as pain and suffering. Yeah, I don't like this board very much. My task was to obtain 3 stars on this board, hidden in one of the 3 chests. I've already gone over how I feel about this mechanic when I talked about Spiny Desert in my Mario Party 2 and 3 review, so I won't dwell too much on it here. Basically, it just means randomized star spaces means a randomized victory. It's just not a fun time. Despite this, I wouldn't say this board was as bad as Spiny Desert. It's much shorter for one thing, since you don't have to complete a full 15-turn game, and the board is a bit on the small side, so navigating around it isn't too much of a chore either. I managed to squeeze out a victory in 2 attempts. First attempt, I just got plain unlucky with the chests, rolled really low on my dice, flubbed up a few easy minigames. Banana, grape, orange, strawberry, apple, banana, grape, orange, strawberry, apple, banana, grape, orange, strawberry. Banana, grape, orange. Banana. No, I hit it by accident. No, my process failed me. No, I don't want to talk about it. It just didn't go my way. Toad managed to snap up 3 stars with minimal effort, and I had to start again from scratch. On my second attempt, Wario gained a star early on, which worried me a little bit, but that was pretty much the only bad thing that happened here. This time, RNGesus was on my side, and I swiped 3 stars in about 10 turns. not much more to say here. I will say, however, that it was at this point I was definitely getting really frustrated. Randomized star spaces are not fun. I will never understand for the life of me why this is a deliberate design choice. But even that aside, the computers are really savage. This entire campaign, since Grand Canal, Board 1, the computers have either been pushovers or Goku Ultra Instinct. There is literally no in between. So if you there sitting at home predicted that the next board, Windmillville, was won completely and effortlessly in about 15 minutes with no resistance whatsoever, you'd be right. As previously stated, all I had to do was claim windmills by depositing coins to claim the property. Kinda like Monopoly now that I think about it. This board came and went so quick, it was like I blinked and it was over. This game is so bipolar, man. It's like a fucking yo-yo on a sugar high. 1 minute I'm winning and on top of the world, the next minute I'm getting my ass beat. One board goes by flawlessly with barely any effort, the next is a horrible disaster that becomes a test of my patience and sanity. This board was easy. A very high you could say, which if we're going by our yo-yo analogy here, that would mean the next board would have to be the most cruel, vicious, and unforgiving Mario Party experience that I've ever endured in my entire life. Of course, I'm certain that wouldn't happen, I'm just being pessimistic here. As a type A Leo personality, I can admit I get a bit salty when things don't go my way, so this definitely won't be that bad of an experience. Indeed, it will be worse! Bowser's Enchanted Inferno is just about the worst goddamn thing I've ever had to experience in any form of media I've ever had the displeasure of going through. The goal of this board is to obtain a star, take it to Bowser, and then beat him in a final minigame. Now, obtaining the star is not the problem here. In fact, because this board is kind of small and its pathways are pretty straightforward, nabbing a star isn't a big deal. The problem is this fucking minigame! Bowser's Lovely Lift. Bowser's Lovely Lift is not just difficult, it's not just unforgiving, it's cruel, it's sadistic, it's outright evil. The premise is pretty simple, and to its credit, I think it's a really good concept for a final battle. We enter a stone tower and are tasked with reaching the 100th floor via its lift elevator. To ascend the floors, we have to hit the dice box in the four corners of the lift. The total sum of your 4 rolls is how many floors you ascend. While you are doing this, Bowser makes it his mission to torment you by any means necessary. He shoots flaming rocks and homing missiles at you as you run around. Once you get about halfway, Koopa Kid rolls up and starts blasting you as well, and the pair can fire lasers that can close in on you and trap you. Now, none of this sounds particularly bad on paper. It sounds like general video game obstacles, right? Right? Ha! You wish. Well, if you get hit at any point, it's game over. One hit and you're dead. No time to practice, learn patterns, or timing, it's do or die. But to make matters worse, the hitboxes on these attacks are ruthless. I spent over an hour and a half trying this minigame again, and again, and again, and again, because I simply could not avoid these attacks consistently. The fucking lasers especially! I try to jump over it. I get hit. I jump a little earlier. It clearly looks like I cleared it. I get hit. I jump a little later. I still get hit. I could not get the timing on this for the life of me. And it's mostly because I couldn't even fucking practice, because you lose if you get hit even once.
So what happens if you lose this minigame? I bet that's what you're probably wondering, huh? You ever see the movie Groundhog Day?
Whenever you inevitably get hit and lose this minigame, Bowser takes your star and you are forced to get another one elsewhere. That is so fucking harsh, it's not even funny. You went through all the trouble of getting that star? Too bad! Get another one and come back later. So clearly, the strategy here then is to stockpile stars. More stars means more chances, right? It makes sense. So let's pull off a little strategy and get as many stars as we... Oh. You're fucking joking. You can't even stockpile stars! Toadsworth! 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 Why? Why can't I get more than 1 star? What's the reasoning? No, right, he doesn't even fucking give you one. He just says, oh, I see you already have a star. Like, yes, you fucking crusty old boomer, and I want another one. What kind of government regulation bullshit is this? Why even bother having another star spot in the first place then? Just make it so that there's only 1 star at a time and give the other player a method to steal it back from them. You already did that in Pyramid Park, aboard in the same fucking game, so why not here? Why? They seriously only give you 1 shot. Alright, then I'll just try to pull myself up from my bootstraps, I guess. We got a star. Let's just head to the center of the board and... Alright, let's start again. Truck across the board, get the star, go back to the center of the board, challenge Bowser. Truck across the board, get the star, go back to the center of the board, challenge Bowser. Truck across the board, get the star, go back to the center of the board, challenge Bowser. Truck across the star, get the board, go back to the board of the center, Bowser challenge. Truck across star, board. Ha! It's a cruise liner, get it? Rage, fury, irritation, humiliation. God, why is this game so fucking impossible?
Oh dear. It appears as if he overdid it a little bit. Excuse us everyone, I'm certain he'll wake up soon.
The next day.
Oh, shit. That was a mistake. Ugh. Let's just get this over with, shall we?
This was truly a painful experience for me. It's probably the most devastated I've ever felt playing a Mario Party game. Again and again and again, I felt like I had all of my effort ripped away from me for losing a minigame I barely had any chance to practice. This one board took me an hour and a half to finally beat. And you know how I finally managed to overcome it? Not because I got better at this stupid fucking 9th circle of hell I call a minigame, but because I basically stole it. Every time someone ascends the lift and loses before reaching the top, the next person to play starts wherever the minigame left off. My first 2 attempts, the computer took advantage of the progress I made and beat the minigame, forcing me to restart. On my 3rd attempt, Boo got to floor 90, and at that point, I just had to survive long enough to roll the 4 dice once. I got a 22, reached the top, and... that was it. The nightmare was finally over. I literally broke down and cried on stream. Not because I felt accomplished, no, but because my suffering finally ended. Here's the problem. I don't feel like I actually beat this minigame. After my stream ended and I went to bed for the night, I felt hollow. I felt like I didn't really win. Rather, I just took advantage of a situation that was presented to me. It didn't feel earned at all. I didn't deserve this. I never once dodged those fucking lasers. I just rolled my winning number before they were able to even pull out that obstacle. And that's the fatal flaw of this minigame. The fact that progress isn't separated between players. Boo literally did all of the work and I just beat the last 10 floors. Tell me, does that sound fair to you? If this was a 2-player mode, I bet the other person would have rage quit, and honestly, I wouldn't blame them. This minigame has a fantastic concept, but is completely ruined by horrible hitboxes, and is set up in such a way that it can make winning feel like a fluke, rather than it being genuinely deserved, unless you clear it first try. Good fucking luck with that! It's the worst minigame in the worst story mode in the entire series thus far. The ending is pretty one note to boot. After we win, Bowser and his Koopalings are banished to a deserted island and swear their revenge as we ride off into the sunset. The end. That's it. Mario Party 4's ending was endearing and sweet. 5's ending felt conclusive and satisfying. 6's ending flooded me with memories with its pop-up book and concluded with the sun and moon becoming friends again. This feels uninspired and unfortunately confirms how I've always felt about the plot of this game. It's half-baked, underwhelming, and uninspired. I can say without a shadow of a doubt that I despise this story mode. Okay, look. I don't want this to be purely negative. The story mode sucks and is immensely frustrating, but Mario Party always has been about its party mode first and foremost. So let's try to focus on that and find the good in this game. I know it's here, so how does this party mode stack up? Well, being honest, I really love the globetrotting theme here. Every board is based off of a real-world location and features its own unique gimmick. Grand Canal is based off of Italy and is your general starting board. The star moves locations as players obtain it. Pretty standard fare, it works, and has a great aesthetic. Pagoda Peak is based off China. Players must scale a mountain and reach the top to get their star. The value of the star starts off at 10 coins, but steadily increases as more and more players reach the top. Getting golden mushrooms here is key. Pyramid Park is based off of Egypt and features probably my favorite gimmick, the chain chomps. Chasing your rivals down and strategizing what chain chomp to ride and when is genuinely fun. It requires some ingenuity. Neon Heights, like I said, features my least favorite gimmick, the randomized star chests. Still don't understand why this is a thing, but I do love that this board is based on a movie set. I think it's really cool. Windmillville is a Dutch-themed board that plays like Monopoly. You have to claim windmills and attempt to keep others from outbidding you by pouring in as many coins as you can. The more coins you invest, the harder it is to buy out and the more stars you earn. And finally, Bowser's Enchanted Inferno. Outside of story mode, this board is, kinda lame. The star moves around, and the only gimmick is that Bowser will sink one of the islands during Bowser time, forcing players back to the start and taking half of their coins. Which brings me to the other new mechanic added to this game, Bowser time. Every 5 turns, Bowser will wreak havoc on the board to make your life hell. These range from inconsequential to downright mean. For instance, in Grand Canal, he'll destroy the bridges and will rebuild his zone full of Bowser spaces. Not bad, right? In Windmillville, however, he will randomly destroy a player-owned windmill, essentially deleting their progress and making the windmill open to others for purchase again. And that's just not fun. I guess it keeps players on their toes, but to me, it's really just an element of randomness that can make winning complete luck. But hey, like I said, I really enjoy these boards and their gimmicks, for the most part. And one of the minigames, the main event of every Mario Party entry, 4, 5, and 6 have some of my most favorite and beloved minigames in the entire series, so my expectations here are pretty high. Do they stand toe-to-toe with the other entries? They're okay. Not bad, not amazing, just okay. Writing this script, I really can't think of any games in particular that stand out to me from memory alone. Usually, there are a handful of games in every entry that always get me hyped, but no such games really exist here. Let me take a look at the Mario Wiki here. Well, Snow Ride is a pretty fun racing 4v4 minigame. Spinner Cell is an interesting take on the dual stick minigames. Ooh, Spider Stomp! That's a great 2v2 that plays like a classic shoot-'em-up game. That was really neat. The Final Countdown is a very intense battle minigame where you try to force your opponents off of an ever-shrinking platform. And I enjoy the simplicity of Hip Hop Drop. Like I said, they're all fine, just not very memorable to me. Maybe that has something to do with my inexperience in this game compared to the others, but then again, I could name a few games from Super Mario Party after playing that entry, so take it as you will. I think the reason I'm not as crazy about the catalog here is because none of these games are fast-paced. They don't get my adrenaline going like some of the past minigames did. There are no white-knuckle platformers here really, there's very little survival games, and you know, come to think of it, there are only 2 button mashing minigames in this entire entry. That's right, a minigame genre that defined the GameCube era is almost non-existent here. That's probably why this catalog feels so off to me. Games in general are just slower, more methodical, and not as reaction-based. I think, don't quote me here, this is in part due to the new Deluxe Cruise mode, where 8 players can join in on a party with 2 players sharing one half of each controller. It even features its own set of minigames. It's an interesting and unique idea, I'll give them that, but one I'll probably never get to experience. I have a hard time convincing even 3 other people to play this game, never mind 7. Thanks for reminding me how hard it is to make friends in your late 20s, Mario Party, really appreciate that. No, I jest. Honestly, while I'm not crazy about the minigames here, I think it ultimately comes down to personal taste. I love fast-paced, button-mashing minigames, but some people don't necessarily agree with that. Some people like slower-paced, methodical games. They're probably easier to play for the casual person anyway, something I'm certain was intentional. And being fair, I can safely say that these are probably the most skill-based minigames in the series to date. They reward practice and your full attention. I'd be a complete hypocrite if I didn't at least acknowledge that. And hey, at least the mic minigames are much better integrated here. There's more of them this time around, about 10, and they appear far more often. On average, I got about 1 or 2 per game, so this game definitely gives this awkward plastic tube a lot more love than Mario Party 6 ever did. They're pretty solid games too. Oil Crisis is a particular favorite of mine, where you need to guide a car with your commands. You have to make it run over as many oil drums as possible in order to drive as far as you can. It's a great reaction-based game, and it shows off how responsive this peripheral actually is. It actually makes me wish this thing was used in more games. The potential was great here. I should really try Odama sometime. Overall, I would say Mario Party 7 is good. It's fine. It doesn't speak to me personally, and I despise the solo mode, but it is nevertheless fun in its own right. It presents really unique and interesting gimmicks and makes a conscious effort to stand apart from its 3 predecessors. And for a series that was considered a bit tired at this point, I can commend that. There are many people who love this entry, and if you're one of them, awesome. I'm genuinely happy that you have found enjoyment in it, and I encourage you to keep playing. So, does the GameCube era of Mario Party still stand strong? Can I still call this the golden era of Mario Party despite having some harsh criticisms for each of these games? Well, yeah, absolutely. I knew going in that these games aren't perfect. I never said this was a flawless era, it's just my favorite era. These 4 games provided my childhood with countless wonderful memories and have influenced me as the gamer that I am today. I can easily see why someone would prefer the N64 trilogy, and I won't blame you in the slightest if you do. But for me, nothing in this series will ever be as fun, as enjoyable, or as personal to me as Mario Party on the Nintendo Gamecube.
Well folks, that's all I got for this video. This was a great trip down memory lane. I know there's a heavy nostalgia bias here, so take my opinions as you will, but as someone who grew up with this era of Mario Party, I can't recommend these 4 games enough, especially Mario Party 6. This is the magnum opus of the entire series, without a doubt. Unfortunately, as they say, all good things must come to an end. Does that ring true for Mario Party? Well, let's just say I have a bad feeling in my gut.
Are you certain that's not just your hangover?
Maybe. Next time we'll be looking at Mario Parties 8 through 10. I'll see you then.
If you enjoyed this video, be sure to click that like button and subscribe. Share it with everyone you know and love. I'll be making more videos like this soon. I hope to see you next time.